board meeting to order at 7:02. If we could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Mr. Middlestat, if you could please take attendance.
He's unmuted.
Want the roll then?
Yes, please.
Okay, Ms. Berkmeyer,
Here.
Ms. Moses,
He
Here,
is.
Wyandotte, Michigan.
There he is.
Mr. Green,
Here.
Ms. Knox,
Here.
Mr. Richards,
Here.
Mr. DeRue,
Here.
Mr. Middlestat, New Baltimore.
Thank you. All right, before we move on with the agenda, I just wanted to announce today is actually School Bus Driver Appreciation Day. So I'd definitely wanted to put that out there, that say thank you to our school bus drivers that work hard for us every single day. And also last Wednesday wasn't a regular meeting, so I didn't interject it, but it was Administrative Professionals Day. So thank you to those employees as well. And then we're going to move on to our next item, which is Teacher of the Year recognition. I believe Mr. Wedge and Mr. McDonald are going to discuss our recipients this year.
Hello, board. I want to introduce our elementary teacher of the year, and I'll ask her to come forward. It's Cindy Bowman. Cindy has been a special education teacher in Anchor Bay School District for 26 years. Currently, Cindy teaches in the early childhood special education program at Eldred Elementary in the ECSE program. Cindy makes the unique difference in a child's life, not in just 1 year, but Cindy can work with students for 2 to 3 years before they start kindergarten. Outside of the classroom, Cindy continues to make a difference. She leads student council in the building that helps to serve the Anchor Bay community, as well as volunteering in the Winter Olympics for Special Olympics. And she has done that for the past 27 years that's held in Traverse City. Cindy is our Feed the Bay coordinator and volunteers her time to pack food for the Anchor Bay community. And she has organized Red Cross blood drives and the Giving Tree to support our families during the holidays. Cindy teaches all the students in the building, not just her own, both young and old, along with our staff members, how to be a better person, a kinder person, and that is Cindy Bowman. And I have to say that she was my partner teacher when I first came to Anchor Bay. She is a little bit older. She's been around longer.
I'm not much older.
But we taught together at Sugar Bush Elementary, so I know her very well, and she's very deserving of this award. So congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, it's my pleasure to introduce the middle school and high school teachers of the year. And, typically we do have a really nice plaque for them. They already received that so that people in the audience know. But this evening, I want to share with you, board, the middle school teacher of the year first. Jennifer Massey. Jennifer, if you'd like to come up, I see she's here with her family. We know that a teacher is always needs support at home, and I know there's lots of hours that go on at home, and I'm sure her family is a big part of it. So, but I'll talk a little bit about Jennifer. Teacher of the year, when we start looking at candidates and we start looking at those that are nominated, there are so many outstanding teachers. So to even be nominated is such a huge honor. And, a lot of these names come up year after year. And unfortunately, there's one winner a year, unfortunately. And this year for Jennifer, she was chosen teacher of the year. She's in her 12th year currently at Middle School North. She teaches our STEM Project Lead the Way classes. Not only, STEM is engaging, but Jennifer has just a way to always make her lessons very engaging and hands-on for her students. One of the, this year has been the most challenging, I think, in any educator's career. And I can tell you that Jennifer's help throughout her building and the district with her ability to create hands-on videos, her ability to help others with technology and different issues through the virtual learning. I mean, you can look as far as when we went to her school with the plaque, we got to her classroom, quiet, kids are working away. Mrs. Massey wasn't in there, but her teaching partner next door was there supervising the kids. We said, where was Miss Massey? In someone else's classroom helping them with the technology issue. It just was the epitome of the kind of year it's been for the staff here at North. I know Mr. Titi would go on and on about how much she would help her fellow colleagues. And I just would like to read a quote from one of her students, Bailey Smith, a 7th grader here at Middle School North. I'm used to being at Middle School North at the board meetings. Said this about Mrs. Massey. Mrs. Massey has always been a great teacher throughout the year. She always does her best to help any student, no matter how long it takes. Mrs. Massey always explains things in a way that everyone will understand and is very enthusiastic when she's teaching. Congratulations. This year and every year, we thank you for your efforts.
Thank you.
Congratulations. This evening's high school teacher of the year is Mr. Dave Kirsten. I know Dave's here with his wife and daughter, and I've had the pleasure of being Dave's principal, and Mr. LaPerriere is here as well, and I know that he would echo, and I know that Dave's been nominated several years. He's recognized by his peers in administration for the things that he's done. Dave's currently in his 18th year here in the district. Before winning Teacher of the Year, he also won the Faculty Award as a senior here. And if you know anything about that, to me, that is the award to win for any senior, is all the teachers kind of bring up the cream of the crop. So he started as a student here and now is standing here as Teacher of the Year. For his high school, he currently teaches world history and AP US history. He's been the sponsor of our anti-bullying club for the past 8 years. He's been a sponsor of the ski club. And recently he presented, if you remember when we did the cross-curricular project for Martin Luther King with the day with the posters, his collaboration with his graphic arts teachers here. We highlighted that a couple in February. But that project's been going on for years. So Dave does an incredible job with his students. He attends sporting events, he's always supportive. And one thing that I'll share just with Dave is that, you know, when you walk around the school and you look in the classrooms and you get a snapshot of what teachers are doing. And sometimes you catch them working with kids, you catch them writing on the board, you catch them on the phone. Not that you catch them doing, but that's what you see sometimes. And sometimes they're checking email, sometimes, they're doing a lot of different things. In the years that I was principal here and after, it never failed that every time I looked into Dave's classroom, he was engaged with kids, every time. And I don't know if I've ever seen that from another teacher. Every single time he's in deep with kids, having some type of conversation. Here is a statement from one of Mr. Kirsten's students. Mr. Kirsten is incredibly supportive of his students' activities, attending sporting events, band concerts, and more. Not only does he attend these, but he truly enjoys watching his students succeed and will be quick to congratulate them. Finally, the clearest presentation of Mr. Kirsten's respect for his students and interest is in their well-being. Is the simple question in which he asks at the beginning of each class, what do we have to celebrate today? That's from Colin Arena, the AP US History student, senior here at the high school. Congratulations, Dave.
And I think all of the board extends their congratulations to all of these teachers, not just those that were selected, but like Mr. McDonald said, to be nominated. And we know that it's a high honor here because we know that our teachers are going above and beyond every day. So congratulations to all of you. Okay. We're going to move next into our reconfirmation of learning plan. Because of the optics of this meeting, instead of having to relocate the board and having a projection screen come down, if you would like, there are packets of the reconfirmation of learning plan at the entrance of the auditorium with the data, with the two-way communication data and other things that Mr. McDonald's going to speak about, but it won't be on screen in this room tonight. But for those who are virtual, you will be able to follow it along.
Not quite as exciting for me as Teacher of the Year, but probably a close second on tonight's agenda at least, is the reconfirmation once again. And just as we go through the packet, this is obviously required through PA 165 and in a review of our return to learn reconfirmation plan to review how instruction is being delivered is one of the key facets, taking public comment on this topic and reviewing our two-way interaction rates. So I'll go through these options again for some of you that have been with us for a while here in the audience. They are the same as previous. So we're 100% remote K-12. 100%. We have one remote K-12 and in person. We have different options for all the levels. Previously, kindergarten right now is pre-kindergarten, includes mostly in person. There are very few virtual learners. There are very unique circumstances around those where they're also getting live and recorded instruction. K-5 is also an in-person option and a virtual option. The virtual option is separated and includes live synchronous instruction and some asynchronous instruction. We are all using the Schoology platform as our learning management system. And at the secondary level, we are also in person and virtual. And we continue with the live instruction or an option for asynchronous recorded lessons, again, using Schoology for those assistants. We when we look at our higher level of supports, we do have English language learner support, and we have special ed hybrid instruction throughout the year where we did our very best to always keep those learners in person as much as possible. The two-way interaction rates are very consistent. We've usually right in the 97% range. You can see a few added weeks because of the pushing the meeting back, but I won't read them all to you. We were though 97% and some change for the month of March, a couple of spring break weeks, and the week right after spring break was 96.8. Again, the weeks end are Tuesday to Wednesday, so this week's was not yet added to that. It will be in the next presentation. And just to review that we are keeping our transparency page up to date. Not exactly required, but it is certainly goes along with this presentation. Something to note, I'll just share with the board as we had rolled out our plan for the remote learning through testing at the high school. That was very successful in terms of there were a few cases that students that were home at, but of course, them being at home, there's no exposures. So it really limited those exposures. And just reviewing the data this week, we've had a few cases and the majority actually have been virtual students with no exposures. So there was actually a week where there was more reported cases from kids that are not here, but it's nice. We still get those reported, but we seem to be doing fairly well lately in that regard. So it being at the end of April going into May, the idea would be to continue with our plan.
So at this point, we will have an open forum regarding the reconfirmation of learning plan. The forum is open to parents or legal guardians of any students in the district. If there's anybody that would like to speak regarding our reconfirmation of learning plan. And I don't have any submissions, or there doesn't appear to be any in-house. Mr. Sizemore, are there any virtual participants?
No one has their hand up at this point.
Thank you. All right, so I am looking for a motion to reconfirm our learning plan.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
All right, a motion by Mr. Moses, supported by Mr. Green. Any discussion on the board? Okay. Hearing none, Mr. Middlestat, if you could call the roll, please.
Mr. Moses,
Yes.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Green. Thank you. Ms. Berkmeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Knox,
Yes.
Mr. Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Drew,
Yes.
Mr. Middlestate, yes.
Thank you. We will move into open forum. So at this first open forum, I'll remind you that you are invited to comment regarding items on the agenda. And to remind you also that specific comments about employees should be directed to them personally and not included in the public forum. I know I do have one submission for, I'm assuming for the second forum, because I don't believe this item's on the agenda. So I will hold this one that I was given. I don't know if Mr. Sizemore, you have any virtual submissions.
Yes, there's a Jim Sad.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, I think I'm gonna wait this out. Um, at this point, I think there's a letter that's gonna be written or read to the board. I just hope to be available if there was any questions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sizemore, are there any other submissions?
And Jim Endrest?
Hello.
Hello, sir.
I, like Mr. Sad, will reserve my comments for the agenda item I think you're going to hear about. I'm available for questions if needed.
Okay.
I'm also the Ira Township Supervisor.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any others?
That's it.
All right. So next on our agenda, we have Towards Greater Achievement. HOSA has had a Strive for a Safer Drive campaign. And I believe there's a presentation for us about their event.
Good evening, Board of Education. Before I have the students talk about the Strive for a Safer Drive, I have some really exciting news that I thought would be very appropriate to share with the board members. So in previous board meetings, I talked about our HOSA students competing in regional competitions, and then those qualify for state competitions. So we just found out that on Monday, we placed #1 in the state of Michigan for community awareness. And what that means is we're able to compete internationally. We're not leaving the state. It will be on a Zoom, but our students will compete internationally June 23rd to June 26th. So just wanted to share that outstanding news. At this time, actually, 2 of the students that were on the committee, Jack Cooney and Lauren Dooley, were the winners for the first place. We have 2 other students, Eva Dixon and Scarlett Martell. So big shout out to those as well. So at this time, Ms. Dixon, our health occupations teacher, along with 2 students, will explain the campaign. Thank you.
Good evening, board. My name is Jack Cooney. I'm a senior at Anchor Bay High School, and I'm the president of the Anchor Bay HOSA Club. Health Occupations Students of America, or HOSA, is a group of highly dedicated individuals who are a part of our medical education program who share a common interest in furthering their education in the field of medical sciences. Members in the club can participate in the HOSA Leadership Regional Conference, as Ms. Kenward just described, to compete in a wide variety of healthcare-related topics, including the medical terminology test and the community awareness leadership event. My apologies, I got lost. Students can then from there move on to the state and international leadership conferences. Members can also participate in several community campaigns that the HOSA Club participates in annually, including the Gift of Life campaign, a campaign compelling individuals to register as organ donors, or the Strive for a Safer Drive campaign, which will be discussed later tonight. I will now pass this over to Ms. Dixon, the medical education teacher and the HOSA Club advisor.
Thank you for having us tonight. So Strive for a Safer Drive is an actual teen driving initiative to prevent fatalities from car crashes. They are our most at-risk population. It is presented by Ford Driving Skills for Life and the Office of Highway Safety Administration. Anybody, any high school and middle school can actually apply to compete in the competition. And 23 high schools were actually selected for this year, for this school year. So us and places like Cosno and Dakota are all competing in this competition. We were given $1,000 to go towards our campaign. This is our 3rd year that we are doing this campaign. The very first year we won 5th place, which was very awesome. We received $500 for the HOSA Club. Last year, when we competed due to COVID, they were unable to give out prizes and stuff because the campaigns weren't finished. So this is our third year. So we are really looking forward to bringing home a win. And you probably have seen our signs out, and I'm going to turn it back over to Jack, and he's going to talk a little bit more about what we've been doing this year.
As Ms. Dixon just said, this year we were faced with a rather unique challenge, a global pandemic. We had to find ways to educate individuals when face-to-face events were not an option. That was when we took to social media, as well as some wide area coverage through the use of yard signs. We have created a TikTok, a series of short 1-minute clips to educate young drivers about different driving statistics, facts, lessons for driving, supported by the Strive for a Safer Drive Instagram, created by the club, as well as the Anchor Bay School District Facebook page. We also employed the use of bright yellow yard signs with the Strive for a Safer Drive logo and information about social medias in various places around New Baltimore and Chesterfield, including but not limited to Anchor Bay Pit Stop Diner, Big B Coffee, New Baltimore Police Department, and Lighthouse Elementary. On March 23rd, 2021, we were featured in a local news, in a news column in our local newspaper, The Voice. We were also featured on air on Local 4 News for their Something Good segment. On April 1st, myself, as well as another HOSA member, held a Zoom conference with Macomb County Sheriff, Mr. Anthony Wickersham, where we discussed various topics, including his background, the dangers of impaired driving, and safe alternative options when you are unable to drive yourself, which was made available on the Anchor Bay School District Facebook page. I'll now pass the mic over to Lauren Dooley.
So hello, I'm Lauren Dooley. I'm a senior here at Anchor Bay, and I'm HOSA's vice president. We thought that it would be a really good idea a way to spread this to our peers is create a bunch of different social media platforms. So we created our Facebook page, we created the TikTok, and we have Instagram. So on our Instagram, within the last week, we have had 158 followers, and then our views with those stories have had 1,584. And then the likes were 560, and then the views posted from the videos on that were 1,375. And then on our TikTok page, which is where you can post those short videos, we have had 141 followers and then 1,100 likes. And then views on all of those videos, we've had 13,134. So we're reaching a very wide amount of people to get the safe driving information out. And then on our Facebook page, where we posted our interview with Anthony Wickersham, we have had 1,800 views on that interview. And then we have had 16 responses with that interview and how we thought that was a good idea to talk to the sheriff and understand what those dangers were with teen driving. So I have a little lanyard here for all of the board members. That is our Strive for a Safer Drive lanyards to help promote better driving for teens.
Our slogan for this year is, "It's been declared you shouldn't drive impaired." So our focus is impaired driving and seatbelt use. And this Friday, we will do our post-test to see if we have improved seatbelt use within the high school. So thank you very much.
Thank you to all of you, and congratulations on your success in the competition and as well as your campaign. Okay, we'll move into general. We'll move into general business. We have bills payable with Ms. Randazzo.
Yes, good evening, board. This evening you have in front of you a bills payable summary and the detail for the month of March. March expenditures totaled $1,789,041. If the board has any questions at this time, I'd be happy to answer those questions.
I do have a few questions. Around the general fund. I see a charge on here for $3,520 for Fletcher, Delco, and Shooty.
Okay, can you tell me what page that's on, please, sir?
Sure, page 1.
I'm sorry?
Page 1.
That is for legal services for the district.
On page 2, can you tell me what KSS the amount of $5,150. What this purchase is for.
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you over here.
Page 2,
Yes,
KSS. Can you tell me what that purchase is for?
yes, those are actually for sanitizers and gloves. PPE equipment.
Page 3 for the St. Clair County Sheriff's Department, $11,000.
Absolutely. That is for police liaison services for the high school for the months of November and December.
I also see on here, same page, Verizon Wireless, $3,018. They're actually on here twice on another page for $1,682. I'm sorry, $1,682.
Those are for jetpacks.
I only have a couple more. On page 8, I see Metro Controls. Is this for heating or air conditioning?
Those are for boiler room repairs.
Same page, Precision Landscaping, $14,000. I'm sorry, $14,817.
That's for snow removal.
Is this a seasonal contract?
It is a seasonal contract.
Page 16, Telnet Worldwide, $8,697.
Telephone services for various buildings in the district.
Same page, Anchor Bay Indoor Sportsplex, $28,900. Are we currently using the Sportsplex? And if so, can you tell me for what?
Yes, we do have current usage with the Sportsplex. This is a cumulative total for winter and spring sports.
Page 17, Ken Becker. Can you tell me who that person is? $3,000.
Yes, that's a stipend for a robotics coach.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do I have a motion to accept the bills payable for March 2021 as presented?
I'll make the motion.
I will second. Okay, motion by Mr. Drew, seconded by Ms. Knox. Any further discussion on the board? Go ahead and call the roll, please.
Mr. Giroux,
Yes.
Ms. Knox,
Yes.
Ms. Burkmeyer,
Yes.
Mr. Moses,
Yes.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Richards,
No.
Mr. Middlestate, yes.
Okay, motion passes. The next item is the early buyout, returning back. If you recall, the board at the last meeting had approved the early buyout for all but one employee for further information. The board members have been presented with further clarification on the eligibility of this employee for the buyout. Did you want to add?
Madam Chairman, I wish to make a motion.
Sure, go ahead.
I'd like to move that we not exclude any eligible employee and approve employee 35013 early buyout. And
Okay,
include for the record a list of all receiving the buyout offer to be included in the board minutes.
I'm sorry, the last part of that, did you say to include all those receiving the buyout in the board minute?
Right, so we document who received the buyout today in the board minutes.
Okay, by employee number or,
No, it's, if we're paying somebody
Okay.
money, we can put their name
Okay.
in it.
I'm just
I think
clarifying.
so.
Okay. So Mr. Middlestat has made a motion to approve the buyout for all applicants, including employee number 35013, and to include those employees indicated by name in the meeting minutes. Is there a second for that proposal?
I'll second it.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Moses. Any further discussion by the board? Okay, Mr. Middlestat, if you please call the roll.
Middlestate, yes. Mr. Moses?
Yes.
Mr. Moses, thank you. Ms. Burkmeyer?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
No.
Ms. Knox?
Yes.
Mr. Richards?
No.
Mr. DeRue?
He did say yes, but
Okay, sorry.
his mic cut out. Okay,
Yes.
motion- There you go. Motion passes. Okay.
Thank you.
On to the next, we had a proposal for a sale of property. Board members, we've received a proposal to buy 28 acres of land as described in the attached proposal that you received. The buyer is offering to pay $504,000 for the property, which equates to $18,000 per acre. Mr. Rathbun, did you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share some additional information. So we received the proposal a couple of weeks ago. We have also just today received another inquiry from a separate buyer regarding the property. As the board is aware, under board policy 5004 for surplus property, the superintendent, if the superintendent is able to identify any surplus property, which this is possibly surplus property, then it is up to the board to provide approval for me to engage in any sort of discussion with a proposed buyer or buyers. And so before I can proceed with any of the buyers, I would need to get that direction from the board. If that is the will of the board, it may also be the will of the board that this property should be retained by the district. And if that's the case, then we can likely stop here and move forward.
Okay. So if any board members would like to make a motion to give the authorization.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to designate the school property north of the high school for future school use and not accept it or entertain any purchase offers at this time.
Okay. So Mr. Middle, is there a second on his motion?
Second.
All right. So a motion with Mr. Middlestat to not entertain any property negotiation for the sale of property north of the high school indicated, seconded by Mr. DeRue. Any discussion by the board?
Yes, have we used this property before? And in what way?
I can weigh in. I've got some history, Ms. Knox, as we purchased that property, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, for future school use. We got an offer from the Rock Church to expand their site because that was their intent. And then they being a good neighbor, and we sold them additional property on the frontage. We had an offer on the Sportsplex, which was a good partnership, and we were able to sell a portion of the property for that. We've always, in the past, and I'm just relaying to the past, that we've designated that property for future use, perhaps for a 9th grade center like Chippewa, if the enrollment expanded, a center for career tech, administration building, bus yards. We felt at the time, and it's up to this board to decide, I guess, that with all those athletic facilities and the parking nearby, that would be an excellent site for future expansion. As you know, we've got auto shops and everything else. We're busing kids across town, and certainly if we got the good partnership, or in the future, we could develop a Pancal similar center where we could do a welding center or HVACs or a real building trade. So we felt that at the time that property was a good thing for us to designate for future use. And of course, the value of the property will increase in the future, and perhaps 5-10 years if we feel that there's a good partnership and the superintendent gets a decent request, then we could look at it at that time. But I think it's a very good area to set aside at this point. And the value of the offer is way below what the market value is. In fact, Mr. Sadam knows that he sold us a 1/4 acre of property in the front for $240,000 an acre. So this offer is not that it's out of reach and not in good terms, but I think it's a good area for us to have future use.
Thank you for your insight and history, Mr. Middlestat.
I think it's also, for the audience, it's important to note too, that the parcel of land that's in question is actually the only access to the road that property has. It's the only part that has current access to the road. So if we sold that property, we would be landlocking our remaining property as well, without a very easy access point to it. So I think that's an important point to add for people's understanding.
Well, I think when you're referring to the access, those of you that don't know, there's a industrial access road immediately to the north of the Rock. And this property kind of parallels that in between us and that property. And obviously, as Mr. Middlestat expressed, has significant value for us for possible future usage because we have access to it from the school property. And then we would also have access to it from that service drive.
I would like to confirm with this motion, the second offer that Mr. Rathbun received today, we would not be able to receive any estimate on what.
Yeah, I'd be happy
That's
to
correct.
try and speak to that. It was not a formal offer that I received. It was a phone call expressing potential interest in the property.
There was no dollars or cents associated with that.
No, sir.
I mean, I just want to make sure that, I would at least recommend, seeing what that offer is in the financial despair that our district is in right now. We have no clue what the second offer could be.
So
Correct. The current motion on the floor would not allow Mr. Rathbun to engage in any authorization to discuss sale of property.
And I would weigh in that I don't think we're in that financial strait to sell away our future at this point. That is a prime area for us with all the athletic facilities, parking lots, and looking at future expansion. You may not be aware of, but the property that Great Oaks was on was purchased 25 years before it was ever used, and became a great value of the district as it expanded. So it's basically, you want to sell your future.
Is there any further board discussion?
I would be open to supporting the first part of your motion, Mr. Middlestat, but I would like Mr. Rathbun to be able to engage in discussion, which obviously anything further than that would be approved by the board, but I don't want to close the door on potential opportunities should they arise. But I'm very much in agreement with the first part of your motion.
Well, I think if there was a serious and a good partnership in the case similar to the Sportsplex, that the superintendent could come forward if he had it. But I think it'll eliminate a lot of people speculating on what offers we need to do on the property. And I think if we designate it for school use, then we should designate it for school use and not look at what we could sell it for.
I don't think the motion precludes the superintendent from receiving offers. Anybody can mail anything to anybody, but I do understand both of your points. Protect the asset. So, I don't know, Mr. Middlestat, if you have the votes for your motion. It sounds like there may be some concerns there. And obviously, I don't want to walk away without securing this property or protecting it at this time. But it sounds like somebody in the book.
Couldn't quite make that out.
Steve, did you hear what I said?
No,
The only thing I was referencing was that I'm not sure if you have the votes for your motion is kind of in two parts. And I also indicated that anybody can mail anything to anyone else through the USPS. And I don't want to preclude Mr. Rathbun or our future superintendent that we're hoping to hire on May 12th from at least receiving offers and bringing them to us. I understand your point of stability, and I don't want to give our future away either. But I don't want to block somebody who may want to offer an inordinate amount of money at some point for a piece of property. So I'm not sure if you have the votes, sir, honestly, for your motion. Obviously, we can run it and see how it goes, and then perhaps circle back.
I guess my principle is.
Go
If
ahead.
you're going to designate it for future school use, that's what you do. And if Mr. Rathburn got a very interesting offer, then he could come back to us and say, hey, there's an interesting offer. I'd like authority to discuss it. That's what I'm looking at.
I was gonna say, I don't, his motion is not looking at preceding taking. I mean, if someone sends something to him, he brings it before us. He's just saying, don't actively go out there and try to sell.
Well, I think, sorry.
Is that what he's?
I believe it kind of precludes him, the motion to not give him that authorization would preclude him from really engaging in any sort of back and forth about it. But like you guys said, if somebody were to actually, the offer wasn't really formal with a dollar amount, it sounds like, the latest one.
Correct.
So if we were to get a formal offer, he could certainly come back to us and say, okay, I got this now. And we could, of course, change our minds to allow him to engage at that point.
Yeah, I don't think Steve's motion, it's just telling the public that at this point, this board's saying we want to use this for future school use. So we're not actively putting it on the market. But obviously, if anybody says, this person comes back and says, we're going to give you millions of dollars for it, he brings it before us and we can change our mind. So I don't think it's going to change anything for you guys as far as that.
I think what it avoids is the bringing it up at every board meeting, that if somebody sends an offer to Todd, he can look at it and say, that's not good enough for me to go to the board for approval. If he gets a letter and says, man, this is a good deal, then you can bring it forward. I just try and avoid having at every board meeting going through offers every meeting. I guess that's what I'm looking at.
Sure. Okay. Everybody good? Yeah, great. All right, so the motion is to not discuss the sale of the property at this time. And if we could call the roll?
Mr. Middlestate, yes. Mr. DeRue,
Yes.
Ms. Burkmeyer,
Yes.
Mr. Moses,
Yes.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Ms. Knox,
Yes.
Mr. Richards.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. The next item on our agenda is a field trip request. So Mr. McDonald will discuss that.
Yes, good evening again, board. This request before you is just to grant the middle schools, both north and south, to begin to plan for a Washington DC trip, which we were not able to take last spring or this spring, but just to continue to attempt pandemic willing next year. Both of the companies, it's the same companies we've always used, been doing it for many years, very well run, et cetera. So I just asking for that permission to move forward with planning.
Great. Is there a motion to approve the field trips as presented for middle school north and south to Washington DC for 2022?
I'll make the motion.
I'll support that as long as you don't come back here next year and tell me that we couldn't go another year in a row.
I hope you're right, sir.
Motion by Mr. Moses, supported by Mr. Green,
Mr. McDonald, a couple of questions also.
Yes, sir.
When the trip was canceled last year, were all families reimbursed fully?
Can you say that one more time? Were they
When the trip-
reimbursed?
Yes, were
I'm
all
sorry.
families reimbursed?
I don't know off the top of what happened 2 springs ago. I know I could get back to you on it. I know there's some travel insurance, but I don't want to speculate. I believe they were, but I certainly do not want to speculate.
I know I can speak to, I remember seeing Ms. Kessel, Glassford. They did get reimbursement. I guess I can't specifically say if every person, felt fulfilled in that, but there was reimbursement. It was drawn out a little bit into the summertime. I remember that much, but I know people did start getting their refunds.
I can follow up.
All right, can we call the roll, please? Mr. Middlestat?
Yeah, I just lost my, I'm back on. You want the roll now?
Yes, we call the roll for the field trip.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Moses,
Yes.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
having some technical difficulties here. Ms. Berkmeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Knox,
Yes.
Mr. Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Giroux,
Yes.
Mr. Middlestate, yes.
All right, motion passes. And then we have the MISD budget resolution. So at the April 2021 annual meeting of the Macomb County School Boards, the MISD budget was unanimously approved. Under new ISD legislation, the general fund operating budget must be approved individually by each board. So the deadline for that resolution is June 1st of this year, and the board members have a copy of the resolution in their packet.
I so move that we approve the resolution.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, so a motion to approve the MISD budget resolution as presented by Mr. Middlestat, seconded by Mr. Giroux. Any questions or board discussion? All right, go ahead and call the roll, please.
Mr. Middlestate, yes. Mr. Giroux,
Yes.
Ms. Berkmeyer,
Yes.
Moses,
Sorry, yes.
Green,
Yes.
Ms. Knox,
Yes.
Mr. Richards.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. We will move on to union communications. I don't believe any of the reps are in the audience. I do know Ms. Petron wanted to speak, and she should be virtually attending.
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right. Good evening, board. First of all, I would like to say that I have been very impressed with the superintendent search process. Since January, thanks to Mr. Rathbun, communication and relationships with the ABEA have been positive and productive, more so than any time over the past several years. I look forward to that continuing as you make the difficult decision of choosing one of these two very qualified candidates. I would also like to commend Mrs. Manick and Mr. Rathbun for their work on the right size committee. This process was extremely well done, thorough, and included all stakeholders. While future fiscal responsibility remains in the forefront, I would encourage this board to take action on the next steps as soon as possible so that both the staff, community, and most importantly, our students can have positive transition and have ample time to adjust to these potential long-term changes. Lastly, I would like to remind the board that next Tuesday is Teacher Appreciation
Let me
Day.
back it right up to it.
Actually, next week is Teacher Appreciation Week. This year has been like no other, and through it all, the teachers in this district have continued to work hard, put in countless hours, make on-the-fly adjustments, sub on their preps, hold up their colleagues, and like always, put students first. While the traditional thank you and very, very tasty tray of cookies are always appreciated, with the impact of COVID, the very real teacher shortage, and the impact of this year has had on your teaching staff, please make it a priority to settle our current wage reopener and get down to business by getting an agreement in place before the expiration of our contract on June 30th. Words mean a lot, but actions show that these words actually mean something. Our teaching staff has been patient over the past several months with all the new transitions in the district, but the best appreciation gift would be to give your employees a fair and equitable collective bargaining agreement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tim, are there any other union reps?
I don't see anyone else.
Okay. Thank you. So now we'll move into open forum. We have public comment. This public comment is not limited to the agenda items. Again, we ask that you try to limit to 3 minutes, and comments about specific employees should be directed to them and not included in the open forum. So I do have one submission for in-house, Mr. Tom Braun. Yep, you can come up to the podium.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tom Braun. I'm the president of the Anchor Bay Band Boosters organization. My wife and I both graduated from Anchor Bay, and I was also a member of the instrumental music program here at Anchor Bay. My oldest daughter graduated last year. My middle daughter is in the middle school, and they're both in the bands. And my youngest son is a third grader at McCont Elementary. As you may know, Mr. Visno and Mr. Orenchek have both announced that they will be retiring at the end of this school year. After our last band booster general meeting, it was clear to me that several parents had concerns about filling the positions of the outgoing directors. We, the parents, got together via Zoom and organized our concerns and drafted a letter that was sent out to the school board members and the administrators at central office. I'd like to thank the superintendent, director of human resources, and director of secondary curriculum for their communication and support with this. We were able to get the job listings up, and we've had several applicants come in. In Anchor Bay, there's a history of success in the instrumental music program over the last 20 years. That include performances at the Michigan Music Conference by the Anchor Bay High School Wind Ensemble, the Anchor Bay High School Jazz Ensemble, and the Middle School Symphonic Band. Over 500 students annually participate in the secondary music education program at Anchor Bay. Straight first division ratings by the Anchor Bay High School Wind Ensemble, the Anchor Bay High School Symphonic Band, the Anchor Bay High School Jazz Ensemble, and the Anchor Bay High School Marching Band over these 20 years. As well as consistent first and second division ratings at various festivals by all the ensembles at the middle school and high school levels. Anchor Bay has been recognized as one of the best 100 communities for music education in America by the American Music Conference. Also receiving the award of distinction by the American School Band Directors Association. Over these 20 years, numerous performances at the Detroit Jazz Festival, which those of you who don't know is the largest free jazz festival in the world. And they also participate at the Central Michigan University Jazz Weekend. They have numerous best band of the, best band, best section, and best soloist. Over the last couple of years, we were able to go. They won both best band, 2 best sections, and then best soloist and runner-up best soloist. So here at Anchor Bay in the music education program, we have a lot to be proud of. 2 more seconds. Going forward, marching band pre-camp is the 3 days that follow the end of the school year, starting June 16th. The Bandorama Parade is on the schedule, the Bandorama Parade is on the schedule, and the Pride of Anchor Bay, the marching tars have been asked to perform as they do every year. As you know, the parade is a big deal in our community, and last summer the parade was canceled because of COVID. That will be 2 classes of kids. This coming up parade will be 2 classes, 2 incoming classes, that this will be their very first performance parade ever. So it's crucial that we find replacements for both band directors and they have time to get up to speed for the upcoming summer marching band events. We ask central office to continue the work that they are doing, the work they have started to find quality replacements quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sizemore, are there any other virtual submissions?
No, there is not.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, including the minutes of the March 24th, 2021 meeting and financial report as presented?
I'll move.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Middlestat, seconded by Mr. DeRue. Any discussion?
Yeah, I would make just one comment. Sorry for the delay in the minutes. What I'm doing, and I guess I ask for your acceptance, is quite often when we do motions, as you know, we'll say, I move that this be approved as presented. And the presented always references back to the board package that was sent out. So what I've started to do now, starting with this month, is if someone says, I wish to move this motion as presented, I'm going to put it as an attachment to the official minutes so that those 2 documents always are tied together as an official board minutes. So I'm making that change and seeing how that goes. But I think that'll be a better way historically to know when you say as presented that it's attached right to those minutes. So you don't have to go look for a board package to see the documentation.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that for sure, Steve.
Is there support for the motion?
Well, Mr. DeRue did.
Oh, sorry. All right. Any further comments? Go ahead and call the roll.
Mr. Middlestate, yeah, yes. Mr. DeRue,
Yes.
Ms. Berkmeyer,
Yes.
Mr. Moses,
Yes.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Ms. Knox,
Yes.
Mr. Richards.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. We'll move on. We are at superintendent comments.
Thank you, Ms. Birkmeyer. I would like to begin my comments this evening by stating that I did not apply for the superintendent position. This was a very difficult decision for me. However, after much reflection, much discussion with my family, it was just not the right timing for this opportunity. I appreciate all the confidence placed in me by the board and appreciate the many nice comments from staff and community about my interim leadership. I do intend to stay here in the district and return to my job as assistant superintendent. And I look forward to working closely with our next superintendent. I would also like to congratulate senior trumpet player, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan was one of 3 trumpet players in the state to be recognized as having an outstanding performance in the Proficiency 3 category for this year's MSBOA Solo and Ensemble Festival. Congratulations, Jonathan. Want to also make parents aware that the Anchor Bay High School bands will be performing their spring concerts on Wednesday, May 12th and Thursday, May 13th. Saturday, May 1st, Anchor Bay will be hosting the AB track relays with 10 schools in attendance. Our varsity baseball team will also be traveling to Comerica Park for a 4 o'clock game against Marysville. And then finally, I'd like to share our JROTC annual awards presentation will be held on Wednesday, May 5th at the high school auxiliary gym, beginning at 8:53. So please keep those on your calendars, and thank you very much.
Move to board comments. We'll start, Mr. Middlestat.
So far, the superintendent selection process has gone well, and I appreciate the community keeping track of what's going on. Also, as we start knowing who the retirees are with this early buyout, was announced or related to today, Mr. Visna and the other band director, we'll soon learn of all the losses of great people that we have in Anchor Bay, particularly the band program. When Randy Castile started and Dave took the baton and took it to the ultimate in terms of the band program, and his family's always been supportive of the Anchor Bay schools. So again, we'll trickle in the people that we know that are going to be leaving and are happy for them in their retirement. But again, significant losses and significant challenges to replace. But it's always been, throughout the years I've been here, we've always been able to pass the baton off pretty successfully and maintain our programs, because we've always had excellent staff to step forward and pick up the like I said, grab the baton and finish the race as we go. So there's so many things going on. I'll leave it up to the next board members.
Mr. Moses.
I just wanted to say a very sincere thank you to all my fellow board members who have been keeping the ship running while I've been kind of forced on the schedule change and haven't been able to make it to the every meeting. And to Mr. Rathbun and Sherry, who kept me abreast of everything that's been going on so I can keep up and make informed decisions. And most importantly, staff and parents and constituents and students who I'm sure have noticed I haven't been there the last couple of meetings. I'm hoping that's going to clear up by the next month's meeting. And also a very big congratulations to the Teacher of the Year winners and the HOSA winners. You guys did a fantastic job, and thank you for being a part of what makes Anchor Bay great. And that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Green.
I want to congratulate the HOSA team as well. That's just phenomenal that we're out there and have the opportunity to win these events and possibly compete internationally if that was an option at this point. It's obviously not. I also want to congratulate the Teachers of the Year. If you've been watching some of the superintendent interviews, I love to brag about my kids because this school district has done an awesome job. It's not me, it's not their mom, it's the teachers in this district. They've done an awesome job to get my kids positioned to where they are and to make them responsible, respectful human beings. So one of the soup candidates asked, what I am not proud of is our AV department. I've been struggling with this microphone. I think they keep putting it on my desk to see where my breaking point is before I throw it into the first row. And quite frankly, I promised Mr. Drew I would throw it in the first row the next time it broke. So there's no one there. But again, congratulations to everybody. Congratulations to those Teachers of the Year. You're the ones that are the backbone of the district, and that our administrators and our building administrators support you. And before I get too long rambling, I also appreciate all of my fellow team members up here as we go through this superintendent search. And I can tell you, based on, I think Mr. Middlestat mentioned the community's been watching, my phone blows up nonstop, emails, texts, IMs. The community is very engaged, and we have a very, very difficult decision to make between now and May 12th. And Mr. Silveri, who's leading this process, said that's a good thing. And I agree. I'm glad I have two stellar candidates that I, stay awake last night thinking, well, which candidate do I want to go with? So as a community, make sure you're reaching out to your board members, you're sharing the things that you know or that you hear, and guiding us to make that decision, because we're here to represent all of you, not only my views, but everybody in the community that also has a very vested interest in our new superintendent.
Mr. Drew.
All right, I just want to take a minute to thank Mr. Rathbun for stepping into the role that you have and you're still doing. You're doing a great job. You know, it's not easy to do. And then I also want to thank you for addressing the fact that you didn't apply, because that's probably one of the single biggest questions related to the superintendent search that I've been getting. And, you know, we can't say anything. So, but that's a testament to what you've done, that a lot of the community wanted to see you in that top 5 and then possibly the top 2. So just wanted to take a moment to thank you for that and look forward to working with you once the new superintendent does come in. Congratulations to the Teachers of the Year, Cindy Bowman, Jennifer Massey, and David Kirsten. And, you know, they were picked this year, and all the candidates that were nominated. And to all our teachers, you know, as Ms. Petron said, they've been going through a lot the last year and a half. I mean, in addition to everything else that they do. So just want to throw another thanks out. Can't thank them enough. Happy School Bus Driver Appreciation Day. That's probably been enlightened mostly because I have a neighbor who's a bus driver, and I mean, it's amazing when you just don't think about the stuff that those people go through on a daily basis. I haven't yet been able to get over and take a ride with them, but I still plan on doing that, and I encourage all of the rest of our board members to do that. There's some frustrations there at times, and maybe it's good for us to take a look at that. On the candidate search, Mr. Severi's been great. The whole process has been awesome. That was a good decision of this board to hire MLI. It's been professional, and it's really brought us a lot of great candidates. So I'm looking forward to, well, I'm not looking forward to this decision. Like Mr. Green said, we got 2 great candidates to choose from, and I think either way we go, this district's going to be in good hands. And thanks to all the parents for all the feedback that we've been getting on these interviews, you know, the emails, the phone calls, the online submittal form that they had. And then to the, teachers and staff, students that all took the time, and the parents to meet with the finalists earlier this week to do that. I think that's great. And congratulations to the HOSA. I mean, to be competing internationally, even though it's virtual, that's a great, to what they're doing. Obviously that program, Ms. Kenward, thanks for all you're doing, and all of our staff on that. And then lastly, I just want to say thank you to all, like others that set up here, the board members. We've all been putting in a lot of time up here on the board. We all been working together to make this a great process, selecting this new superintendent. And even when we might have differences at times, we're working for the betterment of this district. And sometimes you're going to have differences, but that's going to create better opportunities. If we all agreed all the time, there's going to be no progress. So just want to say thanks, and that's it.
The new people get all the cool stuff.
I would like to congratulate bowler Melanie Straub for finishing 4th in the MHSAA state final. Congratulations to wrestlers Kazi Nolan, Justin Varkali, Troy Lusaka on going to the states in Kalamazoo. Congratulations to diver Adam Schmiel on placing 2nd in the MHSSA state meet, and Eden DeHoog on placing 4th at the meet. Congratulations to varsity cheer for being MAC Blue Champs and earning the MAC Sportsmanship Award. Congratulations to Kristen Ackerman for being named MAC Coach of the Year. Congratulations to our elementary school teacher of the year, Cindy Bowman. Congratulations to our middle school teacher of the year, Jennifer Massey. And congratulations to our high school teacher of the year, David Kirsten. Congratulations to our senior trumpet player, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan was one of 3 players in the state to be recognized as having an outstanding performance at the MSBOA Solo Ensemble Festival. Congratulations to the high school jazz ensemble on receiving one of the best band awards at the 48th annual Jazz Weekend at Michigan University. In addition, rhythm section was awarded with one of the overall best section awards. Congratulations to senior Colin Arena on receiving the best soloist award. Congratulations to Hosa Club. I think it's a great initiative you guys are working on. I'd also like to thank Colleen Mellon for showing me around the Aquatic Center. You have an incredible facility. I'd also like to thank all the applicants that applied for superintendent position. This has been an incredible process, and I look forward to the outcome. Thank you.
All right, looks like I'm last. So I will, in the interest of time, just say I echo what all of my fellow board members have said. I wanted to thank Mr. Rathbun for helping to keep communication and positivity open, and that has really helped the beginning of my tenure on the board be both positive and productive. I would like to thank my other board members for coming along in that same vein, and especially with our search for a superintendent. I'm very much looking forward to site visits next week, and the 3 of us will be providing a summary. And that is about all I have to say. Thank you.
And I will wrap up. Again, you know, all of our staff deserves our appreciation. Of course, we have Teacher Appreciation Week coming up. We had administrative professionals, school bus drivers, but certainly don't want to leave anybody out because everybody is working harder than ever, particularly this year. Congratulations to HOSA as well. That has a special place in my healthcare heart. And congratulations to our teachers of the year, but also, you know, like we said before, all of our nominees, and, you know, all of our staff is going above and beyond, particularly this year. And we do recognize that. And Mr. Rathbun, I want to thank you, you know, for your continual communication with me as well. And then to the board members for hanging in there for this marathon that we've been in since early last week. I think when we scheduled all these meetings, it sounded like, oh, 1 week, that's not going to be a big deal, but we made it. And none of us actually need to come here tomorrow, just a reminder. So. All right, so that is it, and I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So a motion by Mr. Green, seconded by Mr. Giroux. We'll call the roll, please.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Giroux,
Yes.
Ms. Berkmeyer,
Yes.
Mr. Moses,
Yes.
Ms. Knox,
Yes.
Mr. Richards,
Yes.
Middlestate, yes.
Right. Meeting is adjourned at 8:21. Have a good night, and we actually will not be back for 2 more weeks.